Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Journalism and New Media Studies, SOJNMS, Diploma Postgraduate Diploma Programs, Postgraduate Diploma in Digital Media, PGDIDM, Main M01 to Digital Journalism, Block-1 News Concepts, Unit 4 Research for Journalistic, Writing, 4.0 Introduction. Research is known as the systematic way of inquiry that includes various steps to achieve predetermined goals. Research logically reveals the truth. Research is not limited to finding answers to the questions only, and it raises or generates questions on which further researches are conducted. Research always gives new insights and fresh directions to the problems undertaken by the researcher. Research systematically unfolds the truth by using a system or method, manipulating concepts, symbols, or establishing and explaining the phenomenon. Journalists have been using research to generate various stories, and such stories have grabbed a good amount of public attention. For a journalist, research is one of the basic qualities associated with their key character knows for news. You can mention investigative stories as one of the best examples of effective use of research in journalism. Research and journalism require some special components to reach a meaningful conclusion, i.e., observation, exploration, and examination. Journalistic research is purpose-oriented. And, by adding value judgment, a journalist often provides unique and appropriate solutions to the existing problems. 4.1 Learning Outcomes. After studying this unit, you will be able to times distribute meaning and importance of research for journalists, times use various methods and tools of research used by journalists for presenting a story, times identify various aspects of research in the media industry, and differentiate between academic and times journalistic research. 4.2 General Introduction. 4.2.1 Research. Meaning and Importance. P.V. Young, a great social scientist in his book Social Survey and Research, has defined research as the systematic method of discovering new facts or of verifying old facts through sequence, interrelationship, casual explanations, and the natural laws which cover them. J.W. Creswell defines research as a process of steps used to collect information and analyze that information, increasing our understanding of the subject. On the website of Western Sydney University, research is defined by its Department of Education as creation of new knowledge and/or the use of existing knowledge in a new and creative way to generate new concepts, methodologies, and understandings. Many other scholars, institutions, reports, and encyclopedias have also defined research differently but established the same meaning. If we conclude, we can say that research is a systematic and logical way to discover the truth. Research finds answers to the questions with the help of the scientific method. In this process, many new theories and principles are formulated, many existing theories and principles are modified or rejected, and many sets of principles are verified and validated. Research is important for human society as it brings in new knowledge. It happens by putting forward an entirely original idea or theory and by exploring new horizons of knowledge. It gives new insight into the subject and a new direction to human thinking and action. The research defines and explores interrelationships between different variables and thus establishes new theories and principles. These theories and principles work as the foundation and influence the development of society. Research makes meaningful contributions by resolving contradictions in the field of knowledge. This is also true for mass communication. Different paradigms of understanding and explaining mass communication have been established, challenged, modified, and replaced by great research works. Research is the foundation for all disciplines, development and structural changes and logical answers to questions raised in the quest for knowledge. 4.2 Research in various disciplines. Research is essential in all disciplines. You cannot find any stream of knowledge which undermines the research and achieve progress. From academics to industry, from art to science, from beneath the earth to the galaxies, scientists and scholars explore various facts and answer questions. Research is divided into two sections: theoretical and applied. Theoretical research deals with abstract theories and concepts, whereas applied research deals with day-to-day problems and gives solutions to our practical problems. Research is also divided into physical and social science research. Physical science research is concerned with pure science subjects such as biology, physics, chemistry, etc., and subjects of social science research come from society, culture, and literature. Journalism is also one of the established disciplines of research where both theoretical and applied types of research are performed. 4.3 Need for research in media. Media is a holistic term comprising print media, electronic media, cinema, traditional folk media, and new media or digital media. Media has influenced the thinking, opinion, and perception of human society and is considered one of the vital institutions in democratic structures. It performs the functions of a watchdog and agenda setter. Since it is an important discipline to study, media research has become indispensable for all academics, society, and industry. Besides, communication scholars, scholars from sociology, political science, and psychology, and also interested in media and communication research. The interrelationship of media and society is the prime focus of these disciplines. Academic media research is performed with various approaches. Effect of media on people, analysis of the interdependence of cause-effect relationship between media and society, sociological analysis of mass communication or mass media, semiotic analysis of content, and social media communication are some of the areas of interest of academic research in media studies. The applied part of media research is also used extensively. Research is essential for journalistic practices too. Nowadays, screen presentations, layout and design of media products are finalized after receiving research-based inputs from marketing sections. So many good stories need research, support for logical and objective presentation of facts. You might have seen numerous news items based on facts, figures, and data. These stories analyze some of the important issues which need research inputs to get meaningful and interesting shapes. 4.3.1 Research in media houses. The reach of any media is the primary consideration for advertisers to put their monies for product service promotion. Various agencies measure the reach of different media. For e.g., Broadcast Audience Research Council, BARC, is an industry body funded by advertisers, broadcasters, and advertising and media agencies. It is set up for measuring the TV audience in India. Similarly, Media Research Users Council, MRIC, set up in 1994, is yet another not-for-profit industry body that regularly brings out many research reports. These include the Indian Readership Survey, IRS, a study of reach of print media, the Indian Outdoor Survey, a measurement system on outdoor media, and the Indian Listenership Track, which is a day-after recall study of radio listenership. Various marketing research methods are used by media houses to analyze their market presence and develop, change or modify marketing and sales strategies. Digital media technologies have enabled journalists to present stories using big data and information available on the web. Term precision journalism and data journalism indicate the practice of developing stories by exploring databases available in digital formats and over the internet availability of open access software, apps, exposure of social, economic, demographic, political, geographical information to everybody has influenced the journalistic practices. Many organizations prefer to have stories based on analysis of these data in their news basket. So many news organizations have established separate wings to analyze the information available on the net and follow the trends and perspectives presented on such digital media platforms. 4.3.2 Research as a tool for journalists. Journalists are people with excellent common sense. They are keen observers and trained to find the truth behind what is being portrayed. Although the common sense of journalists often leads them in the right direction, it is not enough to conclude important and sensitive cases. They need accurate and objective facts, data information to understand and write on important and sensitive issues. Journalists are considered good researchers because they have some integral qualities such as imagination capability, analytical ability, skills, resourcefulness, independence, persistence, and acquaintance with the field of investigation like any sincere researcher should have. In the media world, journalists cannot develop some stories appropriately if research is not used. You might have seen stories on budget, major policy changes, mega events, poll surveys, opinion-based stories, analytical reports on increasing or changing phenomena like increase in crime rates in the cities, changing demographic characteristics, stories based on statistical facts and figures, etc. These stories are based on the inputs earned by applying research tools. When a journalist takes the opinion of different sections of people, asking them how far budget provisions of government will affect their monthly expenditure, they are researching to develop a meaningful and interesting story out of unexciting, tedious and complex facts and figures of budget statement. These stories use research tools like any other research work. Journalists, when they are doing a story on budget, need to collect the public's opinion on select issues. Their topic or subject may be treated as a research question, since their motive is to reveal and analyze public opinion on the budget statement. They use a survey research method with predetermined questions. In the end, they come with a description of the situation and explain how and why things are happening in a certain way. When reporters informally develop stories based on public opinion, informally, they use purposive sampling and experience surveys. An experienced survey is a type of survey which measures the overall satisfaction of a group of people who have shared a common experience. In recent years, research-based stories got a fillip in the Indian media industry. Conventional mass media has lost its position as the primary source of information after the arrival of digital media. In the age of mobile journalism, people immediately and sometimes simultaneously get the information as events are happening. This change has influenced conventional mass media such as television, newspapers and magazines to be analytical in presenting news to the audience. This change has influenced them to look at unexplored areas and research-based stories that have emerged as major choices. You can often find special or short interval volumes of magazines publishing lead stories that are the research outcome. During the time of elections, opinion poll-based stories get popularity. Such stories are examples of well-planned research work specifically conducted by journalists and the channel or newspaper research teams. Popular taglines are highlighted, and a comparison approach is used to present the story. The audience prioritizes these stories when they read or see who all stand in the race for prime ministership or which party is predicted to perform well or poorly in which area. General elections are celebrated, components of our democracy which are awaited by the media industry eagerly. You can observe the increasing presence of these survey-based stories in news media well ahead of the actual election. Another kind of research-based story published during election time is the exit poll survey. The exit poll is conducted on election day and mostly just after the electorate has cast a vote. The preferred place to conduct an exit poll is the polling station area. Exit polls have helped newspapers and other news organizations to gain viewership, readership, and revenue through advertisements. An exit poll is conducted in most countries where the democratic election process takes place. News stories based on the exit poll results and associated analysis sometimes influences the voter's decision. This is considered unethical manipulation by the Election Commission of India, and they have imposed a ban on publishing such analysis unless the last vote is cast. Many exit poll predictions have failed to present correct figures in the past elections and faced public criticism. It happened because of methodological errors, willful manipulations by researchers, or social desirability bias. Journalists can minimize such biases by taking appropriate and sufficient samples and applying objective analysis to the data. Nowadays, most of the exit poll survey researches are conducted by professional organizations collaborating with media houses. Journalists use research to develop stories from the subject of lifestyle journalism too. These stories dealing with satisfaction with married life, fashion, tour and travel, voting for favorite destinations. Role models always get vast public attention. Most of these stories are based on survey research, and findings are interpreted as per the requirement of the media houses. You might have seen famous survey-based stories on lifestyle components in some popular magazines of our country. Started with a view to give variety to the readers, these stories and issues have become a regular part of the publication. In recent years, media houses have started giving rankings to educational institutions based on research inputs. For example, the India Today group has conducted ranking survey research for almost the last 2 decades. 2. Prepare the list of best colleges from the list of cities. They select with the help of experts and market size. To conduct this survey, 5-step methodology is used. The research team uses secondary data from multiple sources to finalize the list of colleges in its first step. In the second and third steps, with the 5-point scale based on questions, expert opinion is collected, using variables like reputation, quality of academic input, student care, infrastructure, and job prospects. This perceptual score is used to derive perceptual ranking. In the fourth step, factual scores are calculated, and in the fifth and last step, the final ranking is prepared after adding perceptual and factual ranks. The same kind of research-based stories are done by many other media houses and are very popular among students and parents, which constitute huge audiences. Such stories suitable for the media houses, advertising and marketing strategies also help boost the seasonal advertising market. But the use of research is not limited to these mega survey researches only. You will find several news items in news media based on research done by researchers, scientists, research institutions, and labs. These research works are of vital importance for society and help journalists write stories that are mature and complete. Research findings on health, sanitation, medicines, technological advancements, agriculture, and other public interest issues help journalists cover these issues more significantly and are full of relevant information. Environmental issues are now a top concern for everybody. You must have observed many stories on climate change, pollution, deforestation, biodiversity, waste management frequently appearing in the news. People carefully read these stories and make their opinion for contributions or corrective actions. Most of these stories are developed on research findings, and journalists convert or interpret these findings into interesting writing pieces. For the last few years, we have been witnessing lead stories on the pollution index and ranking of the most polluted cities of our country. This is a fine example of a research-based story where figures are turned into interesting, thought-provoking journalistic writings. Such findings provide ample scope for journalists to use statistical tools like graphs, diagrams, animations, tables and make the story understandable, interesting and graspable. Development journalism is that area of journalism where research helps journalists to present meaningful reports. Research and development journalism is used for both telling the readers the latest developments and investigating and presenting a clear picture of the credibility and usefulness of the development. Trustworthy development journalism is not limited to describing the happening or narrating the version of others with journalistic flair. It includes researching the elements of the story, including background, exposing if anything unusual or odd is happening, and decode the meaning, motives, and perspectives of the communication. Research is the key component to present a meaningful and substantial report on the subject. 4.4 Scope of research-based stories. Research is the primary and necessary element of journalism. If you look at the process of developing news stories, then you can easily understand this necessity. There has always been a research and reference section in newspaper offices where important information and references are stored. When required, such a database is used by journalists to make their stories effective and complete. Normally, developing a story starts with the collection of information. This collected information is analyzed and reduced by journalists according to need and then communicated to the audiences. This process of developing a story is similar to researching social and behavioral sciences. In the age of digital technology and the availability of huge data, the use of research techniques in journalistic writings have re-emerged. In his work, Precision Journalism, Philip Meyer coined the same term, precision journalism, to describe social science tools and techniques to present in-depth and accurate stories. Digital media has enabled journalists to gather information with the help of digital media tools. The use of digital technologies to analyze huge data and explore socio-cultural, demographic, political, and geographical perspectives has increased the quality, intensity, and effectiveness of the reports presented to the public. The use of social science techniques to gather and analyze data has transformed investigative journalism by making it more concrete, precise, and comprehensive. With the increasing presence of multiple digital platforms of news dissemination, journalism has become more analytical. Hence, research has become an important tool to develop fresh, meaningful stories and expose new dimensions of the issue. The process of globalization and economic liberalization has also asserted the need to use research in journalistic practices. Segmentation and customization strategies also refer to using research inputs to develop relevant news stories for niche audiences. Nowadays, in the age of big data and internet-based information platforms, the term data journalism has also become prevalent, which indicates developing stories with the help of technology by monitoring, compiling, and analyzing data through software and apps. Journalistic creativity. The journalistic ability of storytelling, interestingly, is used to visualize and illustrate the findings and perspectives of data. This blend of technological sharpness and journalistic skills have transformed the numbers and statistical findings into certifiable, reliable, relevant, and interesting news stories. Research is not a new component of journalism. If you ask your parents, they will tell you about analytical stories published in the newspapers for many decades. On the city page of the newspaper, you might have seen news reports narrating the rise in the graph of crime in the city. The reporter collects data for the crime reported in a specific period. This crime data is further divided into categories such as murder, attempt to murder, robbery, crime against women, etc., and often shown with the help of graphics or tables. The numbers are analyzed qualitatively, and the reporter ends the story with remarks. The same pattern of developing a story can be seen on many other subjects like pollution level, weather news, economic news, sports news, etc. The research tools and procedures followed are almost the same as applied by any researcher to find the answer to his or her research question. 4.5 Research tools used by journalists. journalists and news organizations have understood the importance of research in developing major stories and stories based on predictions. News persons use numerous research tools and news organizations for reporting and writing news, as we have mentioned earlier. Most frequently used tool in survey research. Survey research is conducted both in a structured and unstructured way by news organizations. When poll surveys, ranking surveys are conducted, a well-planned survey methodology is used. The research team first defines the population, and then a rigorous sample selection method is followed. A questionnaire is developed in accordance with a statistical scale. Normally, 4 measurement scales: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio scales create multiple choice questions in the survey research. Open-ended questions are also used to collect in-depth qualitative data. Vox Pop survey is another popular method frequently used by journalists. Vox Pop or Vox Populi is the Latin phrase meaning voice of the public or sentiment of the public. You must have seen on TV screens a reporter in the field is asking people questions about some issue. Only 1 or 2 questions are asked, and spontaneous responses are collected. This method is also used in print media when on subjects like budget, policy changes, etc. Reporters collect public opinion and present the story with their comments or opinions. Digital technology tools to gather, categorize, tabulate, and analyze data are also extensively used. Precision journalism uses various software to collect and analyze data. Computer-assisted reporting techniques have been used to take information from the database, use statistical programs to analyze data. Digital information mapping has enabled journalists to produce more precise and effective stories with their skills and creativity. Technology has enriched journalists with sophisticated tools for data support to developing complete stories. Satellite imagery is used when journalists develop stories on natural disasters such as floods, firestorms, tsunamis, earthquakes, etc. You might have seen such stories in newspapers and TV channels, on news websites with satellite images which increase the accuracy and tell the reader's incident as well as reasons, backgrounds, and predictions in one script. Research findings are also used to develop meaningful stories. There are subjects where the use of research is indispensable. Development journalism, health and hygiene, energy, environment, and water management are core areas where research findings always help journalists present the best stories. For example, if, as a journalist, you are planning to write a story on diabetes, then you will require a lot of research inputs. In such stories, you would need both medicine and lifestyle inputs. You have to explore from the database of research institutions and health organizations to get the information of recent progress in the field and complete the story. Expert interviews will also be needed. In this way, as a journalist, you have explored both primary and secondary data in your writing. First, you have chosen a theme or problem and explored or reviewed the available information. Second, you have supported the subject by quoting experts whose opinion is collected by applying interview method. Third, after receiving inputs from the field and the database, you have analyzed the information, and at the end, a conclusion is drawn. Your experience and observation would also help you to prepare a balanced and complete report. Here, though not strictly, some steps you have used to finalize your story can be used by any researcher when he or she is investigating and the problem is undertaken. 4.6 Limitations in research used by journalists. Developing a meaningful research story always need research, as you cannot develop good stories without research. A reporter collects information, takes the public's opinion, verifies the facts with cross-checking and reliable sources, and prepares a balanced report. If you minutely observe Many limitations will be seen in the research used by journalists conducted for stories. Some limitations are associated with the motive, some with functions, and some associated with the knowledge limitation of the journalist's motive or objective is very crucial in research. News stories get their place based on elements of news which includes proximity, public interest, and revenue. Journalists often use data and interviews to support their thinking as they sometimes frame the issue with their preconceived notions. In such cases, proximity plays a role in the manipulation of facts and objectivity gets compromised. Public interest leads journalists to pick up subjects easily to grab public attention. When special survey-based issues are published, either they cover elections or lifestyle segments. Most of our popular magazines have chosen fantasies with sensual and explicit questions and sometimes erotic narrations. Such contents have been presented using the proper methodology and help publications increase their shares in the readership, circulation, and ultimately revenue figures. Such subjects may not be vital for society or against ethical standards but are used by media houses for multiple reasons. This is a kind of limitation of journalistic research which cannot go far from the reader's interest because of certain obligations. Another limitation is related to lack of training and having research aptitude, since research is just a tool, not the core area of concern for journalists. They are not very acquainted with research traditions and ethics. Often they deviate from the restrictions, which results in the possibility of errors. Most of the time, convenience is preferred over rules, thus, journalists rarely consider the importance of randomization, following the steps and size of heterogeneity factors. 4.7 Differences of research conducted by journalists with other types of research. As we know, research is conducted for multiple reasons and in various institutions. Numerous organizations, institutes, universities research, innovation, verification in search of new facts, etc. One can find a lot of differences in researches conducted by journalists and by other researchers. You can establish these differences based on methodological issues, application of analytical tools, presentation of results, and research use. You can find out more differences in language, organization, and problem identification. Research performed in academics and in the research lab primarily focused on proving or disapproving theory and principle or finding solutions to day-to-day problems. On the other side, research in journalism is used to create public interest or public information. Except for special survey research, most of the research in journalism adopt a flexible approach with methodology and randomization, objective selection of elements, review method of data collection. You cannot find the ordering and inclusion of all well-defined steps of research in journalistic research. The use of statistics is also limited to simple frequency and percentage analysis. Journalistic research is more qualitative, and numbers are used to support the narration. Even when numbers are the main part of data, converting the theme into an interesting, meaningful, precise and concise piece of prose is one of the qualities of the journalist. A journalist rarely uses standard and complex language and prefers to communicate in a language understandable for common readers. For a journalist, research is either telling the readers interesting research findings of others by using research to increase the credibility and draw a map of such situation in the audience's minds. 4.8 Summary. In this unit, we have discussed the meaning, importance, and need of research in our lives and society. The unit also explained the need and importance of research in journalism by presenting important research work to the public and providing journalists present special stories and grab the audience's extra attention. The unit has also described various kinds of research methods used in media. Some research inputs are used to gauge the program's popularity and the channel publication, and some inputs help improve the quality and presentation of the content. Journalists use research techniques to investigate important issues, which help them present the stories with greater credibility. Rigorous research methods are used to publish survey-based stories that help increase the audience base and revenue of the organization. We have also explored the research technology journalism mix in the unit and found digital technology, an internet database for data journalism and precision journalism. In precision journalism, social science research methods are used to analyze the subject. Satellite images and compiled databases narrate the story with additions like background, factors, and consequences. While journalistic research is a lot different from academic research, it gives journalists the same advantage as other researchers, telling the truth rationally and objectively. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.